Okay. Well, the first 2 days were really easy, and everybody I just was able to go up to everyone, and they all wanted one. And then at some point in the second day, somebody was like, "Is that a LifeBook?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then they were like, "Can I have one?" Because I don't know, it's just kind of the talk about my grade, basically. Everybody wants one, and I heard people talking about it, so I walked over and I gave one to a girl who didn't have one but was listening to someone else talk. It was really cool. And then what else? Today, but then my one friend Catherine, you already know about her though. But
well, tell us about Catherine.
Well, somebody took a book and they wrote that it was from me to Catherine, and they put it on her desk, and then she was like, "What's this?" And then somebody was like, "Oh, it's about Jesus," and then she threw it. So that was.
So did you talk to her about that?
Yeah, in PE.
What'd she say?
Everybody was everybody told her that it wasn't me, that it was someone else, and then she was like, "Oh, well, I forget what she said," but then. I'm sorry, I don't like looking at the camera. But then someone said how can you do that to God's word? And then she was like, well, when I die, I'm just gonna go in a hole. And then somebody else was like, I don't want to go to hell. And she was like, well, I think it's just gonna be a hole. And then I was like, well, I'm going to heaven. And then this other girl was like, Diana, she was like, I don't see how you could do that when God gave you life. And I was like, yeah, exactly. We wouldn't even be here if it weren't for God. And then she kind of just left. And it was kind of weird. But it was cool because Diana, I don't think she's a Christian, so she already had a book, so she was reading that.
So what's been the hardest thing about the LifeBook?
I think it's hard to actually get the conversation started and pass it out.
Yeah.
And give it to someone. Because it's easy, because if you're oh, do you want this? What else are you supposed to say besides that? But it's kind of cool, because the first few times I did it, I was like, I have a gift for you. And then they're like, oh, okay. And I was like, we have to read it. And I always say that after I get it started. I'm like, but you have to read it. I'm like, okay.
So have any of them came back and asked you any questions about it after you gave them to them?
No, but I haven't been on Facebook, so because that's the only communication.
How are you going to follow up with the kids you've given books to?
Well, I told them that if they had any questions or they thought anything about it, then they could just email me on Facebook or talk to me or something.
Cool.
Nobody's done anything yet, but.
All right.